Okay, so Final Fantasy Type-0 comes out this week.
Yep.
Woohoo!
We're going to talk about it more in the drop.
Ooh,
Presented by Ryan Clements and Max.
Most excellent. So Type-0 comes out, and that got me thinking about, Type-0 was almost a lost treasure. It looks like, this is a game that came out for the PSP and was summarily ignored by 90% of the human race.
Well, it never came to America.
Yeah, exactly.
Legally.
Yeah. And even then, even overseas, it had very limited distribution. We never got it here. So it got me thinking about what are other games that were released in very limited platforms that maybe got lost because of that. Things that we've enjoyed. We get to play a lot of games. We get paid money to play games.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's insane.
It's ridiculous. We're grotesque man children.
Yeah.
And we're allowed to do this. It's a wonderful privilege.
It's actually really irresponsible that someone would even allow that to happen.
That is.
for decades. Just
but most people, now some of the people listening to this podcast, they love games. They spend their hard-earned money constantly on it to play them.
Yeah.
So all these games that came out on one platform and didn't get wide distribution and they were missed. Me thinking about, hey, what are some of those games?
Yeah.
So I ask you, gentlemen, I made a little list of a few that just kind of off the top of my head. But for example, I think about Crisis Core, which only came out on PSP.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a PSP, there's a really good chance you played Crisis Core.
Totally.
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't have PSPs.
Yeah.
In both America and Japan, actually. And that means a lot of people missed out on the best Final Fantasy VII game, including Final Fantasy VII.
That's just a bold statement.
And
people are not going to be happy with that.
I think they will. I think Zach way better than Cloud. I'm all about it.
He's just Cloud with black hair.
Yeah, but he's much more likable. He's not as moody as Cloud.
But that makes him cooler, according to many DeviantArts.
Yeah. Yeah. So
4 out of 5
they're lovers.
Crisis Core, a really engaging game of really quick quests with compelling gameplay, a lot of fun. A lot of people never got a chance to play it. But if that were out on PS4 and Xbox One right now, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
What other games would we want that to happen?
There's a lot of PSP games that are sort of because I didn't get a PSP until I had a Vita day one, but I didn't get a PSP till near the end of its life cycle. Yeah. I pretty much turned mine into an emulation machine.
Yeah.
So I missed a lot of the really great PSP games. But I would have loved to be able to download on my PS3 stuff like Loco Roco or
it's crazy to me that there isn't just that whole family of things in one place anymore.
Well, and you do have PSN. Now, PSN has done us some favors if you have a Vita. But again, a lot of people don't have a Vita.
Right.
Tactics Ogre, for example, one of the very best PSP games, a remake of an old SNES game, but far superior to the original version. You can play it on Vita as a PSP download, but it's the only place in the world you can play it. That game should be on every sorry about that. It should be on every console on Earth right now.
Yeah. Sure.
Final Fantasy War of the Lions, the remake of Final Fantasy Tactics. Exactly the same kind of thing. What you guys got some others?
I mean, pretty much anything Nintendo made.
So there's everything Nintendo makes is automatically something that's locked away.
That's a big one right there.
Yeah,
I will say, here's one that really is extremely frustrating. One of my favorite games of all time, Secret of Evermore.
Yeah.
Which was made by SquareSoft USA, and it's kind of using the guts of Secret of Mana, Seeking Densetsu, and it's
so weird.
It's got it's like Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah.
It's got like this very kind of corny 90s LucasArts kind of vibe to it. You got a dog.
It becomes a robot.
It turns into a robot dog.
Yeah.
I love that game so much, but because it's the now defunct, I mean, you've got SquareSoft regular turned into Square Enix, they merged with Eidos or whatever, and then SquareSoft USA, I imagine probably burned down and the ruins are full of possums now. I don't know what that studio is. I don't know what the legal standing of that game is, but it was a Super Nintendo exclusive in a time when everybody had a Super Nintendo. But nowadays it's I don't think you can get that on.
No, you can't get it on VC, and it's
crazy.
Does not care.
I legally cannot play my favorite game. That makes me so sad, and
it's a bummer. The amount. I mean, we all travel quite a bit for work, so it'd be so amazing to be able to on my Vita, which is the handheld I enjoy playing the most, to be able to have a lot of those 16-bit games, not even the official Nintendo ones, but stuff like ActRaiser.
No, we've got it a lot better than previous generations because we do have Virtual Console, for example, so we can play ActRaiser there. But there's still so many games behind that paywall, and that's still only one platform, only one place. Whereupon having it on your Vita or having it on even on a DS, I think ActRaiser.
Totally.
And it's that permeating terror of not being able to know if we can archive these things forever, right? In the same way you can pick up a book, I go on my Kindle and buy a book that came out, thousands of years ago or whatever. But I think something that kind of holds things back, and Nintendo actually, It's funny that you mentioned them because they're guilty of like kind of over milking and over being like, hey, we're going to report this and report this. Like they have some games that we've seen 100 times, but there are certain games that are held back by their interfaces, which means that we can pretty much never see them again. Like you look at a game like Skyward Sword that was entirely based on gestural controls.
Yep.
Like how am I going to play that in a few years when the Wii Motion Pluses are all gone? You know, like
how are we going to play DS games? I mean,
totally.
Super Scribblenauts is one of the best Scribblenauts games. Nobody's ever going to be able to play that. Or some of the Wii games like Sin and Punishment 2 or House of the Dead Overkill, which was hilarious if you've ever played
super
it.
weird grindhouse.
House of the Dead Overkill actually, I believe it got ported to iOS.
Did it?
Yeah,
okay,
and you can play that with a touchscreen. And
never mind.
The controls are very different.
I thought that came to PS3.
House of the Dead Overkill? Maybe I didn't do my homework on this one.
Actually, I think that got ported everywhere.
It had move controls.
Never mind.
Had move controls.
Oh, well, I'm a little happier than I was.
Yeah, fair enough.
One that I really love, this was a Wii exclusive, and I wish this were on PS4, but A Boy and His Blob, Way Forward.
Beautiful game. Super gorgeous.
The only game I've ever played with a hug button.
Yeah.
And
just A Boy and His Blob is like, just what? Who owns that, and why can't we have it all the time?
Way Forward developed it.
I don't know where the rights are.
I don't know who owns the rights. I don't know. Crane Kitchen produced the original one for some. I don't remember.
Before that, it was a Game Boy game and an NES game, and that was pretty much it.
Right. Well, done by the guy that did Pitfall and the guy that did Keystone Capers.
Yeah, brutally difficult game.
But you
have to feed him the blood flavored gelatin to make him fall through a hole in the ground, kill yourself, and go to hell.
Imagine this game is it's like Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh in a magical 100-acre wood, doing amazing things with. It's just
if Winnie the Pooh occasionally was just like, hey, I built a portal that you can fall through and you can land and smash 100 miles beneath the earth.
One of those insane. It's one of the most insane games. Like I love that. In the first, you plug that in an NES, you're just like, I'm going to play this cute game about a blob.
Yeah.
And then you feed it a jelly bean, like you said, makes it a hole, and then you just, what other game can you basically trip into the end of the game?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
It's insane.
You get on a rocket and you go 8 screens to one side, and then you just fall to your death. You're like, well,
I loved when you threw ketchup jelly beans at him, and he was just like, no.
Not gonna do nothing.
His frowning mouth.
There's a lot of those old NES and SNES license games that.
DuckTales. We're never going to see DuckTales.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
got the
remake. But stuff like Chippendales. I mean, a lot of the SNES like Aladdin and Lion King and
it's because
and some of these were good games.
They were just tangled up. They're like, here's a toy.
Capcom's still around, Disney's still around, but to get them on the phone with each other to release an obscure NES game is fundamentally impossible.
And then we got stuff that's locked behind completely dead platforms. You got for half the Sega Saturn library, Panzer Dragoon Saga, Dragon Force, and then things on the Dreamcast, Mars Matrix, Power Stone.
How about all the old LucasArts games, all the Star Wars games?
Yep.
That's a scary thing. I really, really hope that
Dark Forces, Rebel Assault.
Yeah, I really hope that Disney realizes how much of a legacy is right there. Star Wars is kind of fascinating because it started existing right when video games started existing. So the original Star Wars game was we kind of roll our eyes at licensed stuff, but it was right there. It was at the Dark Forces came out. I think it was right after Doom. It came out the same year as Doom 2. That's nuts.
Yeah.
The fact that there was a first-person shooter, Star Wars branded one that was up there with it was before Quake.
Yeah.
It was before people knew how to make first-person shooters the way they do.
I think
now.
it's insane that there are games based on one of the biggest franchises in the history of our species that we can't play.
Yeah, there are. And although
nuts.
it's getting better, whoever's there right now, there are quite a few of these on Steam now, and quite a few of them Good Old Games now, which is even better. Good Old Games, if you're not familiar with it, puts a nice magical wrapper over these games that just makes them work in Windows 8.
Yeah,
and that's lovely.
And
and
Disney,
$6
and Disney is open for that too, with letting Tim Schafer and Double Fine make remake Grim Fandango. Then they're working on Day of the Tentacle now, so I don't think this is totally out of the question.
Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
Oh my god!
Oh, that game's so good.
Yeah, it's such a good game.
It's a wonderful game. Also, you are one goatee away. I just realized from being Kyle Katarn. That's kind of weird.
You are so sweet.
That's probably.
He was clean shaven in the first one.
He was. That's right. I forgot about that. Okay, well there we are then. Yeah, get a lightsaber.
I'm gonna fly away home in my moldy crow. Jan, call down the Moldy Crow.
Yeah.
We named this ship this because it's a funnier version of the Falcon.
Dark Forces and Jedi Knight was so good, and then Raven made Jedi Knight 2, and that was good.
Jedi Outcast. Yeah.
Then there's ones like Shadow of the Empire that are sort of dead.
Shout out to the Empire.
Shout out to the Empire.
Yeah, you might be seeing some of these on IGN.
Stop snitching. Stop.
Keep your eyes open, kids. You might be seeing some of these games on IGN.com.
It's really weird because I think it's easy to kind of discount, like, I mean, they kind of trash the whole Star Wars expanded universe. Like, they're sort of like, hey, we're not going to refer to that. They're going to kind of pick and choose stuff they want to use, but none of it's canon, and that's kind of understood. I think it's one thing to be like, okay, these weird old comics, like, those can't stay. Like, they've already done that with the original Marvel Star Wars run, where there's like a bunny man, and then, but with games, like, the games are immensely more complex, and there's something architectural about them compared to, like, here's a novel written by some guy who did literally nothing else that anyone knew about aside from write 3 Star Wars novels.
Video games also don't have that weird 2 decades that Disney had where they were super racist.
Oh, there was that.
Like, it's not like no one's ever been like, hey, you can't play this Star Wars game because all the Jawas are just the worst black stereotypes.
They sort of did with Episode 1, but
okay. I'll totally give you that.
That's a good point.
They did a little bit late to the party there.
But that was in like the last 15 years, right? 20 years? How long has it been?
It was that Y2K scare. It was 1999.
99.
Yeah.
So
that bit where Daffy Duck met Hitler. Well, I mean, Indiana Jones did, but you know.
Yeah.
They had like those scenes that were cut out of Fantasia, and you got
Do you think the Song of the South will appear in Kingdom Hearts 3?
I really hope not.
Wow.
I really hope not. When I was a kid, I had a Song of the South storybook with like accompanying tiny record. And used to read it and listen to it. I was like 4. I didn't know
you
the
didn't know.
difference,
You had no idea.
And then I remember finding this when I was like 11. I was just like, holy. Just realizing what I was looking at.
Dark secrets in the Disney vaults.
Yeah.
Sometimes that vault shouldn't open.
Yeah.
Sometimes that vault should stay closed.
I think there are things that are going to stay in the Disney vault forever.
For quite a while.
And ever. Anybody else got any games they wish? I mean, I guess this list to get really, really wrong.
List goes on and on there.
There is some hope. You know, we got was it Valkyria Chronicles recently?
Yeah, totally.
On PC.
Yeah,
right? And then we got Dragon Quest V just came out on iOS. Now it's DS on iOS. You can play it. Other
places.
A
lot of these games when they come out on iOS are kind of hot trash though. Like any of the Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger.
Dragon Quest V isn't bad. Chrono Trigger on iOS I don't like, but Dragon Quest V they did a much better job.
Yeah.
With. I'm actually pretty happy with it.
I'm playing Chrono Trigger on DS right now.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
See, that's so weird
really
to me.
holds up.
It's so weird to me, Brian.
Why?
That you'll be playing Chrono Trigger, but you don't want to. You zone out when I talk about Dragon Ball Z.
Well, Chrono Trigger
it doesn't make any sense to me. Chrono Trigger makes sense. There's a kid that wakes up. There's a balloon festival.
People don't yell in
There's a robot named Rogo.
Time traveling portal.
A frog named Frog.
Total sense.
No, we used to play Dragon Ball Z bowling at college, and the way you play Dragon Ball Z bowling is you get up to the lane with it, and you go and then you run and bowl. And I mean that's it. And that's Dragon Ball Z bowling.
That sounds terrifying.
You know,
that sounds awesome.
You just make a pose and scream, and then you
pointing
bowl.
the missile launcher at my eyes.
So,
I'm sorry, this
your
G.I.
eyes
Joe
are shielded.
Snowcat wants
you
to join
have
in.
force fields.
But that means my eyes could shatter.
Oh wow, if your eyes shattered.
I'm not going to put out your eye with a G.I. Joe missile, Marty. I am an adult man.
Snowcat.
Barely.
That was a real sentence you just said.
You're just over the corner for that.
Oh, this is the best job ever.